Have you ever wondered if everyone in your inner circle wish you well? You see, jealousy doesn't always look like open hostility. Sometimes it hides behind smiles, compliments, and years of friendship. In fact, one of the hardest people to recognize is the friend who secretly resents your success. And it's not only friends. This also includes family and relatives or your work besties. Here are the signs that may reveal whether someone in your circle is genuinely happy for you or quietly competing with you. They minimize your successes. One of the most common signs of jealousy is when someone consistently minimizes your achievements instead of celebrating them. A genuine friend may offer constructive feedback or keep you grounded, but they will still acknowledge your hard work and be happy when good things happen in your life. A jealous friend often does the opposite. Imagine you tell a friend that you received a promotion at work, landed a dream job, started a successful business, or achieved a personal goal you've worked toward for years. Instead of expressing excitement, they might respond with comments like, "Well, anyone could have done that. You were just lucky," or "It's not that big of a deal." They may immediately point out flaws, focus on potential problems, or compare your success to someone else's bigger achievement. Sometimes the minimization is subtle. They may quickly change the subject, show little interest, or offer a compliment that contains a hidden criticism. For example, "That's great, but don't get your hopes up," or "I'm surprised they chose you." The reason this behavior can be hurtful is that success is often something we want to share with people we care about. When a friend repeatedly dismisses your accomplishments, it can leave you feeling unsupported, confused, or reluctant to share good news in the future. Of course, one isolated comment does not necessarily mean someone is jealous. Everyone has bad days. The pattern is what matters. If a person consistently struggles to celebrate your wins while expecting you to celebrate theirs, it may reveal feelings of competition, insecurity, or envy beneath the surface of the friendship. A true friend doesn't feel diminished by your success. They understand that your achievements do not take anything away from them. The next sign is that they seem uncomfortable when good things happen to you. One subtle sign of jealousy is when a person appears uncomfortable whenever positive things happen in your life. A genuine friend may feel inspired by your success, happiness, or good fortune because they care about you and want to see you thrive. A jealous friend, however, may struggle to hide their discomfort when you receive something they desire for themselves. This discomfort can show up in many ways. They may become unusually quiet when you share good news, offer a forced smile, or quickly change the subject. Instead of asking questions and showing interest, they may seem distracted, uninterested, or eager to move on from the conversation. Sometimes they respond with lukewarm comments such as, "Oh, that's nice," when the situation would normally call for enthusiasm and support. You may also notice a difference in their behavior before and after your success. They might be warm and engaged when you are struggling, but become distant, irritable, or less available when things start going well for you. This often happens because your achievements trigger comparisons they would rather not make. Rather than simply seeing your success, they view it as a reminder of what they feel is missing in their own life. It's important to remember that occasional discomfort does not automatically mean someone is jealous. People can have bad days, personal struggles, or worries of their own. The key is consistency. If someone repeatedly seems uneasy, withdrawn, or unhappy whenever you experience progress, happiness, love, financial success, or recognition, it may indicate that they are having difficulty genuinely celebrating your victories. True friends do not compete with your happiness. They find joy in seeing you succeed because your success does not threaten their own worth. The third sign is when you share dreams, plans, or opportunities with certain people, they immediately point out reasons why it will fail. Not everyone who questions your plans is trying to help you. Sometimes, what appears to be concern is actually discouragement disguised as advice. One possible sign of jealousy is when a person consistently responds to your dreams, goals, or opportunities by focusing almost exclusively on what could go wrong. Imagine telling a friend that you want to start a business, apply for a new job, move to a different city, pursue further education, or begin a new relationship. Instead of asking thoughtful questions or encouraging you to explore the opportunity, they immediately start listing obstacles. They may say things like, "That's too risky. What if it doesn't work out? Most people fail at that," or "You're aiming too high." Of course, genuine friends sometimes point out risks. The difference lies in the intention and balance of the conversation. A supportive friend may help you identify challenges while also encouraging your growth and confidence. A jealous person often focuses only on the negatives. They rarely discuss possibilities, solutions, or reasons you might succeed. Over time, these reactions can have a powerful effect. You may find yourself feeling less excited after talking to them. A dream that once inspired you suddenly feels unrealistic. You begin questioning your abilities and second-guessing decisions that previously felt right. The pattern becomes especially noticeable when the same person responds this way to nearly every positive opportunity you share. Rather than acting as a source of encouragement, they become a source of doubt. Healthy friendships provide honesty and realism, but they also leave room for hope, ambition, and possibility. A true friend helps you prepare for challenges without convincing you that success is impossible before you've even begun. Sign number 4. They want detailed information about your life, your plans, who you are dating, and what's going on at your workplace. Curiosity is a normal part of friendship. People who care about you naturally want to know how you are doing, what is happening in your life, and what goals you are working toward. However, there is a difference between genuine interest and an unusual desire to collect detailed information about every aspect of your life. A person who is excessively interested in your affairs may constantly ask questions about your finances, relationships, career opportunities, future plans, personal challenges, and private conversations. They want to know who you are dating, how serious the relationship is, what your partner does for a living, whether you are planning to get married, what projects you are working on, and whether there are any changes happening at your workplace. What makes this behavior stand out is not the questions themselves, but the intensity and persistence behind them. They often remember small details, ask follow-up questions, and seek information that does not directly affect them. Yet when the conversation turns to their own life, they may become vague, guarded, or unwilling to share the same level of detail. In some cases, the information is harmlessly motivated by curiosity. In others, it may be driven by comparison, gossip, competition, or a desire to monitor your progress. This can leave you feeling as though you are being observed rather than supported. A healthy friendship respects boundaries. Genuine friends care about your life, but they do not feel entitled to every detail. They understand that some plans, opportunities, relationships, and ambitions are personal and do not require public discussion. If someone seems unusually invested in gathering information while giving little in return, it may be wise to share selectively and maintain appropriate boundaries. Sign number 5. They rarely share their own plans. Healthy friendships are built on mutual trust, openness, and a balanced exchange of information. While not everyone is naturally private or equally talkative, most close friends gradually share details about their goals, dreams, challenges, and future plans. One potential warning sign, however, is when someone consistently wants to know everything about your life while revealing very little about their own. These individuals may ask detailed questions about your career, relationships, finances, personal projects, travel plans, or future goals. They seem genuinely interested in every development and often encourage you to share more. Yet when you ask similar questions in return, their answers are vague, brief, or carefully guarded. They may change the subject, provide only general information, or say they will tell you later, but somehow that later never comes. This creates an imbalance in the relationship. Over time, you may realize that they know a great deal about your life, while you know surprisingly little about theirs. The friendship begins to feel less like a mutual exchange and more like a one-sided flow of information. There can be many reasons for this behavior. Some people are naturally private, others have experienced betrayal in the past and are cautious about sharing personal matters. However, in some cases, a person may prefer to remain hidden while keeping track of what is happening in your life. Knowing your plans, opportunities, and relationships allows them to compare themselves to you, monitor your progress, or satisfy their curiosity without becoming equally vulnerable. The key issue is not privacy itself. Everyone has a right to personal boundaries. The concern arises when there is a persistent lack of reciprocity. Genuine friendship involves both people gradually opening up and trusting one another. If someone constantly gathers information about your life while keeping their own plans hidden, it may be worth considering whether the relationship is as balanced and transparent as it appears. Sign number 6. They make passive-aggressive jokes, mock your personal qualities, or prank you at your expense. Humor is a normal part of friendship, and close friends often tease one another from time to time. However, there is an important difference between playful joking that both people enjoy and humor that consistently targets, embarrasses, or undermines one person. Sometimes jealousy reveals itself through passive-aggressive jokes, public mockery, or pranks that leave you feeling uncomfortable rather than amused. A jealous person may disguise criticism as humor. They might make jokes about your appearance, intelligence, career, relationship, ambitions, personality, or achievements and then dismiss your reaction by saying, "I'm just kidding," or "You can't take a joke." Because the comment is framed as humor, it becomes difficult to challenge without appearing overly sensitive. This behavior is often most noticeable in front of other people. For example, if you receive praise or attention, they may quickly bring up an embarrassing story, point out one of your flaws, or make a sarcastic remark that shifts the group's perception of you. The goal may not always be conscious, but the effect is often the same. Your confidence is reduced while their position within the group is protected. Some individuals also enjoy pranks that place you in an awkward, humiliating, or stressful situation. While harmless fun can strengthen friendships, repeated pranks that single you out or make you the punchline can sometimes be a form of disguised hostility. What makes this behavior concerning is the pattern. Everyone occasionally says something insensitive. But if a person repeatedly uses humor to belittle you, embarrass you, or undermine your strengths, it may indicate deeper feelings of resentment, insecurity, or competition. A true friend's jokes should strengthen the relationship, not damage your self-esteem. Good-natured humor leaves both people laughing. Passive-aggressive humor often leaves one person laughing and the other wondering why the joke felt more like an insult than a compliment. Number 7. They cannot stand when you are the center of attention and always try to redirect the spotlight to themselves. One of the more noticeable signs of jealousy is an inability to comfortably let someone else receive attention, recognition, or praise. While most people enjoy being appreciated, emotionally healthy individuals can also celebrate the achievements and special moments of others. A jealous person, however, may become visibly uncomfortable whenever the spotlight is focused on you for too long. This behavior often appears in social settings. Imagine sharing exciting news about a promotion, a new relationship, a personal achievement, or an important milestone. Instead of allowing the conversation to remain focused on your accomplishment, they quickly redirect attention to themselves. They might interrupt with a story about their own experiences, mention something they achieved, or steer the discussion toward a topic where they become the main subject. Sometimes the shift is subtle. For example, after hearing about your success, they may respond with, "That reminds me of when I," and launch into a lengthy story about themselves. In other cases, the behavior is more obvious. They may exaggerate their own achievements, compete with your story, or even create drama to pull attention away from you. Over time, you may notice a recurring pattern. Your accomplishments are rarely allowed to stand on their own. Every celebration somehow becomes a comparison or a competition. Moments that should feel joyful and affirming end up feeling diminished because the focus is repeatedly taken away from you. This behavior is often rooted in insecurity. Instead of seeing attention as something that can be shared, the jealous person views it as a limited resource. When someone else receives recognition, they feel as though they are losing something valuable. A true friend does not feel threatened by your moment in the spotlight. They can listen, celebrate, applaud, and support you without needing to make the occasion about themselves. Healthy relationships make room for everyone to shine. Jealous relationships often turn every spotlight into a competition for who gets to stand under it. Sign number 8. They copy everything you do. Imitation is often described as a form of flattery, and sometimes it truly is. People naturally influence one another, especially friends who spend a lot of time together. They may develop similar tastes, hobbies, or interests without any negative intention. However, there are situations where copying becomes excessive and begins to feel less like admiration and more like competition. A jealous person may seem unusually interested in the choices you make. If you take up a new hobby, they quickly adopt it. If you buy certain clothes, they purchase similar ones. If you start a business, pursue a career path, join a social group, redecorate your home, or develop a new interest, they soon appear to be doing the same thing. On its own, any single example may seem harmless. The pattern becomes noticeable when it happens repeatedly across many areas of your life. What makes this behavior stand out is that the person often shows little genuine interest in these things until you become involved with them. They may even dismiss or criticize your ideas at first, only to adopt them later as their own. Sometimes they go a step further by trying to outperform you in the very areas they copied. This behavior is frequently driven by comparison. Instead of developing a strong sense of their own identity, The jealous person measures themselves against others and looks for external models to imitate. They may see your success, confidence, style, relationships, or achievements as something they need to replicate in order to feel valuable. The issue is not that someone shares your interests. Healthy friendships often include common hobbies, goals, and inspirations. The concern arises when the copying feels constant, competitive, or accompanied by other signs of envy. A supportive friend can admire your achievements while still maintaining their own unique path. A jealous person, by contrast, may struggle to define themselves independently and instead attempt to mirror your choices, accomplishments, and identity. Over time, the behavior can leave you feeling as though your individuality is being treated as a blueprint rather than respected as your own. Number 9. They try to humble you. Humility is generally considered a positive quality. Good friends can help keep one another grounded, offer honest feedback, and provide perspective when needed. However, there is a significant difference between helping someone stay humble and repeatedly trying to make them feel smaller. A jealous person may feel uncomfortable when you are confident, proud of your accomplishments, or receiving recognition from others. Instead of celebrating your success, they may look for ways to reduce your excitement, question your achievements, or remind you of your flaws. Their comments are often framed as keeping you grounded or bringing you back to reality, but the timing and frequency reveal a different pattern. For example, after you share a promotion, they might immediately point out someone who is more successful. If you are proud of a personal achievement, they may remind you of a past mistake. When other people compliment you, they may quickly mention one of your weaknesses or tell an embarrassing story about you. Rather than allowing you to enjoy a moment of accomplishment, they seem compelled to balance every positive with a negative. This behavior can also appear through subtle remarks such as, "Don't get too confident," "You're not that special," or "Anyone could have done that." While such comments may be presented as jokes or advice, their effect is often to diminish your sense of achievement. What makes this behavior concerning is that it usually appears when you are doing well. During difficult periods, the person may seem supportive. Yet when you begin to succeed, gain confidence, receive attention, or move forward in life, they suddenly become critical or dismissive. True friends want you to remain humble without feeling ashamed of your accomplishments. They can celebrate your victories while still being honest when necessary. A jealous person, however, may confuse humility with self-doubt. Rather than helping you stay balanced, they repeatedly try to pull you down whenever you begin to rise. Over time, this pattern can erode confidence and make you feel guilty for being proud of your own achievements. Number 10. They don't support your endeavors. One of the most painful signs of jealousy is the absence of support when you are trying to build something meaningful. Genuine friends do not have to buy everything you sell, attend every event, or engage with every post you publish. However, they usually want to see you succeed and look for reasonable ways to encourage your efforts. A jealous person often does the opposite. You may notice this when you start a business, launch a project, create content online, write a book, open a store, or pursue a long-held dream. While strangers and casual acquaintances show interest, the person who claims to be your friend remains noticeably absent. They rarely share your work, recommend your services, leave supportive comments, or engage with your content in any meaningful way. The contrast can be striking. They spend time on social media and actively interact with other people's posts, yet somehow never seem to notice yours. They may watch your progress from a distance without offering encouragement. If you start an Instagram blog, they silently view your stories but never like, comment on, or share your content. If you launch a business, they may express polite interest but never become a customer, even when supporting you would cost them very little. Of course, no one is obligated to buy products or engage with social media content. The issue is not a single missed like or purchase. The issue is the pattern. When someone consistently withholds support while freely giving it to others, it can reveal underlying feelings of competition or resentment. Jealous people sometimes view another person's success as a threat rather than something to celebrate. Even a small act of support may feel emotionally difficult because it requires acknowledging your progress and helping you move forward. True friends generally want to see your efforts succeed. They may not always be able to support every project financially, but they often find simple ways to encourage you. They understand that another person's success does not diminish their own. Jealous people, by contrast, may behave as though every bit of recognition you receive somehow comes at their expense. The main lesson to learn from this is that not every person deserves access to your energy, your plans, your dreams, or your blessings. Many people are quick to ask questions, seek details, and involve themselves in your personal journey, but not everyone has earned the right to walk beside you through your most meaningful aspirations. Trust should be built through consistent support, respect, and goodwill, not granted automatically because someone is curious. Your dreams are often fragile in their early stages. Before they become reality, they require faith, effort, and protection. Sharing them with the wrong people can expose them to unnecessary criticism, doubt, ridicule, or negativity. Some individuals may consciously or unconsciously project their fears onto your goals, making you question possibilities that once felt clear and exciting. Likewise, your energy is a valuable resource. Every conversation, explanation, and emotional investment requires time and attention. When you constantly share your plans with people who do not genuinely support you, you may find yourself spending more energy defending your vision than pursuing it. This does not mean becoming secretive, suspicious, or isolated. Rather, it means learning discernment. Pay attention to how people respond when good things happen in your life. Notice who encourages your growth, who celebrates your victories, and who remains supportive even when they gain nothing from your success. The people who deserve access to your dreams are those who handle them with care. They do not mock your ambitions, compete with your achievements, or diminish your excitement. Instead, they offer encouragement, honesty, and genuine goodwill. Protecting your plans is not selfish. It is an act of wisdom. Not everyone needs a front-row seat to your journey. Some people are meant to witness the results only after the seeds have already taken root and begun to flourish.